When you're standing in front of a coffee machine that promises cafe-level espresso, the first question is always the same: will it actually make my daily routine easier, or will it turn my kitchen into a second-hand workshop? I get why a lot of people hesitate. You've probably seen a dozen videos, read a few specs sheets, and maybe even imagined the perfect latte art you could pull at home. The reality is that a dual boiler, two-group machine is a big commitment, both in space and in the way you'll have to work it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the basics of the Chef Prosentials KT-9.2H. It's a 220-volt, two-group espresso maker that runs a double boiler system. One boiler is dedicated to brewing, the other to steam, and both sit inside a 9-liter total water reservoir. The machine uses a rotary pump, which is a step up from the cheap vibratory pumps you find in entry-level machines, and it's CE, UL, and NSF certified, so you're not dealing with a knockoff that could leak or fail safety tests. Those are the headline points, but the real story is how they play out once you plug it in. First off, the heat-up time. With a 9-liter boiler split into two sub-boilers, you're looking at roughly 8 to 10 minutes from the moment you flip the switch to a stable 9 bar pressure and 905 C water temperature. That's not instant, but it's also not the 6-minute marathon you get on some larger commercial units. In my testing, the machine held that temperature consistently for an hour, which means you can pull a handful of espresso shots back-to-back without the temperature dropping. For a small office that serves a morning rush of 5 to 8 drinks, that stability is a real advantage. The dual-group design is where the KT-9.2H starts to differentiate itself from the typical homebrew setup. Each group has its own brewing sub-boiler, so you can run two different coffees at the same time, say, a single-origin espresso for one coworker and a blend for another without the flavors bleeding into each other. More importantly, the separate steam boiler means you can pull a shot and froth milk simultaneously. In a real-world scenario, imagine you're hosting a brunch and need to make cappuccinos for a small table while also serving straight espresso to the regulars. The machine can keep up without you having to wait for the steam wand to cool down after each shot. One of the practical strengths lies in the volumetric control system paired with a continuous brew button. The volumetric system lets you program the exact amount of water for each shot, which is handy if you like a tight 30 ml ristretto for one drink and a longer 60 ml pour-over style espresso for another. The continuous button, on the other hand, lets you bypass that programming when you need a batch of drinks quickly. Just hold the button and the machine will keep dispensing at the set volume until you release it. That flexibility works well in a setting where you might have a sudden spike in orders, like an office meeting that suddenly decides they want lattes for everyone. Now, let's talk about the cup warmer. It's a metal plate on top of the machine that keeps mugs at a serving temperature. It's not a heated water bath, so it won't scorch delicate porcelain, but it does keep a standard ceramic mug warm for the duration of a brewing session. In practice, that means you won't be serving a steaming latte in a cold mug, which can affect the perceived temperature and taste. It's a small detail, but when you're trying to impress guests or keep your team happy, those little comforts add up. Maintenance is where the hidden trade-offs emerge. A double boiler means you have twice the surface area to decale, and the rotary pump, while robust, requires occasional cleaning to avoid coffee oils building up. The machine does not have an integrated cleaning program, so you'll need to manually run a water-only cycle and use a descaling solution every couple of months. If you're comfortable with a routine that includes pulling the back panel, wiping the steam wand, and flushing the brew lines, the maintenance is manageable. If you'd rather set it and forget it, the extra work could become a deterrent. Space is another practical consideration. The KT-9.2H measures roughly the size of a small commercial unit, about 30 centimeters wide, 45 centimeters deep, and a full 45 centimeters tall. It needs a dedicated countertop, a nearby power outlet that can handle 220V, and a bit of clearance behind for the water line and drainage. For a home kitchen that's already crowded, fitting this machine might require rearranging appliances or dedicating a bar area. In contrast, a single-group home machine could sit on a narrow shelf, but you'd lose the simultaneous brewing capability. Who should buy this machine? If you run a small office coffee corner, a boutique CAF with limited seating, or you're a serious home barista who often entertains friends and wants the ability to pull 2 drinks at once without compromising temperature, the Chef Prosentials KT-9.2H